Barakatuh. Give thanks to Allah. We ask His blessing on the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his household companions, and all Muslims. Inshallah, tonight the topic we are treating is one of those topics that, for those who are beginners and they are not well taken, or those who are just up and coming, one of those topics they have challenge with is differentiating between Mubtada and Khabar and Nahw and Mudaf and Mudaf ilayh. So that's why the topic goes thus: Al Farqu bayna an-Na'at wal Man'ut wal Mubtada'i wal Khabari wal Mudafi wal Mudaf ilayh. So the difference between the concept of Na'at and Man'ut, Mubtada and Khabar, and what Mudaf and Mudaf ilayh. So now we highlighted some things. We are very open. When you read the notes, you get some said. So some of these reasons why many people get confused in knowing the three concepts include once one restricts itself that it's only what takes alif and lam alone that is a mubtada, that is ma'rifa. You think that's only what takes, like al-baytu, that's only ma'rifa you have known. If that is the only ma'rifa you know, understanding these three topics you have stated above will be giving you problem. Do we get now? So it says someone who has this erroneous view may think some statement like Zaidun Jamil, person will think is not a monot, because he will think that Zaid is what? Nokro. Meanwhile, Zaid is alam, is a proper noun, and all proper nouns, they are also what? Ma'arifa. So it's very important. That's why you see that our consequent previous lessons, we have been emphasizing on the importance of knowing the ma'arifu sabun, that the ma'arifu sabun, there are 7, not just the one taking alif and lam. In now taking alif and lam, just one of the 7, there are other 6, and they will play a role in you understanding mubtada and khabar, na'at and man'ut, and mudaf and mudaf ilayh. So whereas it is a mubtada and khabar combination, like this Zaidun Jamil is a mubtada and khabar combination, it's not a na'at and man'ut. Do we get now? Or when somebody says statement like Baytullahi Kabir, this thing can be Baytullahi al-Kabiru. It can also be what? Baytullahi al-Kabiri. Both of them can be correct. So the statement says, or a statement like Baytullahi Kabir may be interpreted, analyzed, and visualized wrongly, or may not even be, or the reader may, the person may not be aware of the alternative possibilities of interpretation. That means that it can also be correct to say Baytullahi al-Kabiri. May not know, because it's not well grounded in this, because when the person see bait, he may not know that even this bait is also ma'rifa, because more yudaf ila al-ma'rifa. When you do mudaf of a noun to something that is ma'rifa, the noun too will become what? Ma'rifa. So this bait is ma'rifa like this. Do we get now? So this al-Kabir can be for it also. The same way can be for what? Ismu Jalala, which is also a ma'rifa. Now the next is to correct this, as in to correct those two views we have mentioned up there. It is important the person know ma'arifu sabun very well. This ma'arifu sabun, I have sent the link many times of it that people should go. And so if you check our Telegram page, our previous lesson, our notes, you will see it on ma'arifu sabun. If you have not seen the link, just ask on the Telegram page. It will be sent there for you to go and peruse, inshallah. So the 7 definite sounds is very important. The next is believing, another erroneous belief or view is viewing that mudaf ilayh is always ma'rifa. Your mudaf ilayh you always or must always take alif and lam. I've seen the students that once asked such, the person example was given. I was teaching mudaf and mudaf ilayh. I wrote Kitabu Muhammadin. He said, why is Kitab Muhammad mudaf and mudaf ilayh? That Muhammad is not taking alif and lam there. So do we get? So is a erroneous view too. You should note that a ma'rifa is not restricted to what takes alif and lam. Or another thing is that something can be mudaf ilayh and is not even ma'rifa. Like Kitabu Waladin, the book of a boy. The Waladin there is mudaf ilayh and is not ma'rifa. So we should take notes. So example is word like Finlu Amurin. This Amurin is what? Mudaf ilayh. It's not taking alif and lam. It's not ma'rifa. So when not visualized, so we said that when we say a word like this, When not vowelized, we throw a erring person off balance. The person will not know what is the combination between the two. In fact, because this thing is not vowelized, the person now see that Fenlu is Nokro, Amru too is Nokro. The person may think that both of them, they are what? They are not ammonute, which is wrong. They can't be not ammonute because this Amru is not a wasfu, it's not an adjective. Do we get? So another is not being well acquainted with the Arabic 7 classes of adjectives. Somebody who don't know the Awsaf Sabun very well, you will not know that okay, they are the one that is being used for Kobar and for Nat. The person will start having issues on them. So it's very, very important that you understand the Awsaf Sabun too, so that you know that they are used for Kobar mostly. They are also used for Nat mostly. So we get now for mufrad statements. What do we mean by mufrad? A single word. Because your Nat and Kobar can also be a sentence. Do we get? So what we are talking about is when this thing is not a sentence, it's a single word, mufrad. So they use mostly Awsaf Sabun there. That if you check many texts, that's what you'll be seeing. Now to the basic differences. We now want to move to what are now the differences between the three. One, basically the processes below are for each of them. So this is when we see Nat and Monot, they are either what? Marifa plus Marifa, or what? Nokro plus Nokro. Example is Zaidun at-Tawilu, the tall Zaid. You can see this is a what? A Marifa plus Marifa, but Zaid is a Marifa because it's name of somebody. Tawil is Marifa because it's taking Alif Alam. So this is a Nat and Monot process because they are both Marifa. Can also be a Nokro plus Nokro process like Darun Kebirotun. Darun is feminine. Don't say, oh, I don't see town Morbuto there. Yes, it's not every something we don't have town Morbuto, and they are also what? They are also feminine. So Darun Kebirotun, a big house. So this is a Nokro and a Nokro. So a Nat and Monot can be Nokro plus Nokro. That's the or Marifa plus Marifa. That's the relationship between them basically. Also basically, Mutada and Koba, the relationship between the process is what? Marifa plus Nokro. Basically, until you get to advanced stage, they will teach you some other things. But on a basic note, Mutada is always Marifa and Koba is always what? Nokro. Example is Allahu Akbar that we do say in our salat. Allahu Akbar. You can see Ismu Jalala. This is a Marif, of course. Akbaru, this Ismu Tabdil here. Akbaru, you can see that this is a Nokro. You will get now. So Marifa and Nokro. So that is the relationship between what? A Mubtada and Koba. Nat and Monot, Marifa plus Marifa, or it can be Nokro plus Nokro. Mubtada and Koba is what? Marifa plus Nokro. The third one is now what? Mudof and Mudof Wili. What's now the relationship between them? The relationship can be what? Nokro plus Nokro, or what? Nokro plus Nokro. So what somebody will ask is, why is it that Nat and Monot and Mudof and Mudof Wili, they are having the same thing? Yes, it can be like that. But there are other things we mention further that will make you differentiate between them. Now, example is Kitabullah, the book of Allah. Another is the book of them. You can see this is a Nokro, this is a Nokro. This is a Nokro before. But when it's now done as used as a Nokro, become a what? Marifa. So, but the Sanskrit is that it's a Nokro before Kitabu, and law is a Ismu Jalala Marifa. So this Kitabu Waladin, you can see it's Nokro and Nokro. It's also a combination that is possible. So let's take note. Your Mudofule too can be Nokro. So that is that, the book of a boy. Now another difference is which we want to mention is basically a Nat as a single word of a Monot is mostly from the words 7 classes of adjectives. Which what we are saying is that what is mostly used for our Nat are the words the wasfu, the awsafu sabun when they are moved from. The example is Baitun Hasanun, a good house, and not, you can see the words are not Baitun Husnun. You know why we say this? Because when you check your dictionary, you can see a word. So you look for the one that have ADJ. If you are using our verbis, the official dictionary of the madrasa, so you quickly know that okay, I'm seeing the one that having ADJ. That means it will fall among the 7 classes of adjectives. So you can conveniently write this as a word, as a Nat. But if you don't see it among, when you check dictionary, they wrote a noun there. That means it's not among the 7 adjectives classes of it's not among the 7 classes of adjective. So that can be a word, it can be a noun. So this example now is Baitun Hasanun. Hasanun is an adjective which means good. But beitun husnun is the masdar of hasuna, the verb. So and husnun, because of that, cannot be your words in the nat here. So that will be beitun husnun. This literally translated as a words, a goodness house, does not make sense. Do you guess now? So he said because husnun is not a wasfu, it's not an adjective. That's what you are trying to say. So what the difference you are looking at is that basically a nat as a single word is always among the awsaf sabun. Also is that a khabar of a mubtada is also what, that's what is also used awsaf. They use among one of the awsaf sabun for your khabar too. While mudof relay of your mudof is basically non-descriptive now. That means what mostly used for words mudof relay is jamid. So when I see this word kitabu waladin, so you can see waladin is not among the wasfu. It's not ismul fa'il, it's not ismul maf'ul, it's not sifatul mushabba, it's not ismul tabdil. You can see it's not among those seven adjective we have mentioned. So when we see two combination, because this thing is vowelized, if it's not vowelized now, somebody who is not grounded may find it difficult. But because it's not, because we have seen that this is a jamid waladun, is not descriptive, so it's not an ayah among the wasfu. So we conveniently say that the relationship between kitab and walad is a what mudaf and mudaf ilayh process. Example is also fi'l amr. Can say fi'l madi now is, as we told us, is not amanus. Fi'l mudari is also not amanus. But fi'l amr will be what mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Why? Because the amru is not what, is not a wasfu like modin in fi'l madi. Madi is ismul fa'il. Fi'l mudari, that mudari there is also what, ismul fa'il, and they are adjective, they are under wasfu. But look at this amru now, is a masdar. It's not among the awsaf sabun. So that's why the combination between fi'l and amru here will be what, will be mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Do we get what we are trying to say here in this second part? So what we are saying is that your was and your nat are mostly what, awsaf sabun. Your khabar are mostly what, awsaf sabun. But your mudaf ilayh, they are mostly what, jamid. Do we get now? So that is that. Now on the third one, a nat sitabian, that is, it follows its monotes in grammatical analysis. Also concerning their i'rab of the three, mudaf and mudaf ilayh, nat and monote, mubtada and khabar. So for a nat in its i'rab will follow the monotes. You can see they are both taking nasbu. In the second part, masjid is taking nasbu and jarre with jamil, masjidin jamilin. Also here bunya masjidun jamilun, a beautiful mosque was built. You can see they are both taking what, ma'rifa. They are both taking rough on. Do we get here? So for a nat to always follow his monotes in his words, in its i'rab. However, for a khabar does not need to, we don't need to look at what is mubtada taking. Of course our mubtada and our khabar we always take what, rafun. Do we get now? Mubtada and khabar, there is no analysis or negotiation. On a general note, your mubtada and khabar should take rafun both. That's why when they define mubtada, we say ismun marfu'un ismun marfu'un. What did they call our khabar for us? Ismun marfu'un. They are always in rafun state. Meanwhile, but if it is for your mudaf ilayh, is always what, majrurun da'iman. But however, your mudaf, like this thing, is subjective to the this thing. Wa aza yakum ala siyak, depending on this on the words, on the context. So it can be fi'lu, fi'la, and fi'li. Although as a noun, the default vowel is what, dhamma. Do we get now? But if some things affect it, can take other like keswa and fatia too. But your mudaf ilayh, there is no compromise. It will always take words, it will always take jarri. So what we are saying in point 3 is that what, your nat will always follow his monote in its i'rab, and your monote will depend on what the institution it is. Also is that your words, your mubtada and khabar will always take rafun, while your mudaf ilayh is always what, majrurun da'iman. That's point 3. Point 4, a mubtada and khabar do not have, when you are translating to English, you can also cite differences with the 3. Do you get now? A mubtada and khabar, most time when you translate into English, you always see a preposition of is in between. Do you get now? For instance, you have, for instance, say Zaidun Jamil. That's the mubtada and khabar. What does it mean? Zaid is beautiful. Another example is what we always say, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Can see is coming out. So that's why in madrasa we term that as that. We said when you see a mubtada and khabar, it's always what an isiya process. With this is now isiya is what you actually be seeing mostly. So however, if it is a mudaf and mudaf relay, when you are translating now, because that is a noun of noun combination, as you see in other languages too. So that is, if it's a mudaf and mudaf relay, the process will be what? Orfiya. Like Kitabu Zaidin, the book of Zaid. Kitabullahi, the book of Allah. Baytullahi, the book of Zaid. You can see off will be coming out. Jawali Abdul Hamid, the phone of Abdul Hamid. Do you get now? Abdullah is slave of Allah. Do you get? So what will be, what you, it will mostly be is off. We are not saying at all time, but most times. Fi'lul amr, verb of command. Do we get now? Maliku Yawmiddin, the Lord of the day of judgment. Can see, because that's the mudaf and mudaf following each other. Do you get now? Bismillah, with the name of Allah, or starting with the name of Allah. So that is the mudaf and mudaf. That's when you translate. But if it's a noun harmony, it's always the word a straight adjective noun combination. Do you get now? A straight adjective noun. So they brought some example. Allahu Akbar. Can see Allah is. Can see the is painted, is bolding with dark. So Allah is the greatest. So Kitabul Waladi, the book of the boy. Can see Ofiya. And Kitabu, and also Kitabu Waladin, the book of a boy. That is still a mudaf and mudaf. Now look at this now. Waladun Kabir. That will give what? Adjective to a noun straight translation. Do you get? A small boy. Do you get? So that is a nat harmony. So that's the fourth point. We can also see differences through translation. Fifth point is, it said only a mubtada and khabar combination can give a complete sentence on its own among the three. That means among the three, it's only a mubtada and khabar combination that can give you a what? A complete sentence. Which means that mudaf and mudaf ilay on its own cannot give you a complete sentence. Also is that what? Nat and manut on its own, can't give you a complete sentence. But however, mubtada and khabar combination, mubtada and khabar will give you a complete sentence. Look at this now. Allahu Akbar. That's a complete sentence. Allah is the greatest. Look at this now. Kitabul Waladi. It does not give a complete sentence. That's mudaf and mudaf ilay. There's no this on its own can't give you a complete sentence. Look at these two. Kitab Waladin can't give you a complete sentence. Waladun Kabirun, a small boy, does not give a complete sentence. But you can see, so in everything you have, it's only Allahu Akbar, that Allah is the greatest, is the only one that gives a complete. So what we are saying that among the three, mubtada and khabar will give you a complete sentence, while the other two can't give you a complete sentence. So that's what we are looking at. So this is the end of our book 1 of Nahw al-Wadi. We pray Allah accept this from us as an act of ibadah. So let's try to watch and share and send to others who also need something like this. Pray Allah accept it as an act of ibadah. Help us guide us and be with us and make our feet firm in Islam. Thanks for watching. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.